Corpus Christi is in a water crisis on the verge of going into a water emergency. What impact is that having on home values? Is there an exodus? Are people putting their homes on the market? Are people slashing prices? What is happening? I know people are concerned. I moved here from Colorado Springs, which had a very similar semi-arid climate. The difference is that in Colorado, they had a lot of rules and regulations to handle droughts, restrictions, droughts, lack of water. I know what it's like to live on well water and rely on well water, so I understand what's going on with the rural people. I know as a real estate broker what it's like to sell land where somebody's not going to be able to get water, or if they can, they're going to have to drill down 600 feet or so. I've worked with homes that have had no water pressure. I've worked with homes that were on cisterns. When I came to Corpus Christi, that is not what I was expecting, because Corpus Christi is surrounded by water. It is at sea level. I started really following it closely. I started going out to the lakes. I went to the river. I went to the dams. I wanted to see it with my own eyes to verify, because there's been a lot of political fighting and arguing. Okay, even though we've had rain recently and the trees are starting to bloom and it's looking gorgeous, we are still very much in a water crisis. It is real. When you hear that it is real, it is a real thing. Okay, when I was looking at sales comps, I looked at what was going on between March, when most people recognized that and started really talking about the water crisis, and April. So I looked at March sales for both 2024, 2025, 2026, and then I've looked at the first 2 weeks of April and compared first 2 weeks of April in 2024, 2025, 2026. Now, in addition to the water crisis, number one is Corpus Christi is not the only city in Texas that is having water issues and approaching water emergencies. Water is a challenge in a lot of places. Okay, and then we've also had the Iran war impact that's going on. Gas prices have gone up. Now, as of today, home interest rates are actually a little bit lower than they were last year. But overall, I don't see a huge difference in sales and sales prices. Now, like I said, there's still some variation compared to the last 2 years. That said, some of the people have been concerned about how many houses are being put on the market. Well, out of my 15, 20 years in real estate, houses always get put on the market in the spring. That is the time you start putting houses on the market, is in the spring. So there is nothing unusual about that. But for Nueces County, and this time I did just Nueces County, that includes Port Aransas, the Cal Allen area, Corpus Christi, North Beach, North Padre Island. I went ahead and included condos, townhomes, everything as far as residential housing. Those are still definitely selling. And when I give you these numbers, be careful. Don't be wishing that they're a lot higher than last year, because this is when property tax is coming out. And if you need to be pulling comps, you don't want to be showing that, oh my gosh, prices have gone out dramatically. March this year, 290 houses sold in Nueces County versus 299 last year, 2025. That's 9 houses difference. That is not, in my opinion, a significantly big amount. For March, the good news for Corpus Christi is we actually had more $1 million plus homes sell this year for March than the last 2 years. And to me, when you see the high dollar homes selling that is good, because when the market is getting worse, those tend to be the first ones that stop selling. Okay, so actually here's a good statistic, is between April the 10th and April the 15th is 104 homes. People had the option of either backing out and walking away or going forward and putting the house under contract. But in those 5 days, 104 people committed to buying a house here in Nueces County. And when I looked at all of the homes that went under, or that are under contract as of today, there's 333 for Nueces County. That sounds really good. I wish I could say that I've been watching every month to see when the properties went from option period to under contract. Option period is when people find a house, they negotiate with the seller the price that they want to go at, but then they typically will have, say, a 10-day period that they're having their home inspections done. They are looking at what it's going to cost for insurance, making sure that the lender's going to be okay as best as possible with the property. And so during that 10-day period, or 14-day, or whatever they negotiated, the people can walk away from the transaction for any reason whatsoever. And so if they were nervous about anything with the water crisis, there would not be 333 people that went with putting their house under, there would not have been 333 buyers that decided that they wanted to take the next step and actually commit to the house. And so looks at like a very healthy market there. And when I just quickly scanned to see, where people like dramatically dropping the price, I did not, from the original price to the list price, I did not see any evidence that there was widespread of that going on. It is common for some people to want to list a little on the higher side, and then when they don't get any nibbles, they go ahead and lower the price. Like I said, that's common. That does not have anything to do with the water crisis. Okay, this may be a good telling sign, as I mentioned a few moments ago, is when somebody finds the house that they want, they put in an offer and negotiate the price, and then they will have the option period. And the option period is where they can change their mind for any reason whatsoever, but they've decided, they've agreed with the seller that, okay, this is what they'll pay for the house, and they're ready to have their inspections. As of today, April the 17th at 6:16 p.m., there are 91 houses in Nueces County that currently have option contracts. Just today, 7 people decided that they were ready to buy a house and was able to negotiate something with the seller. That is, having 91 houses under contract, that's actually really good. Now, there's a good chance that some of them are gonna fall out due to inspection issues or whatever, but this tells me between houses that are currently going under contract or option contract, to have 91 of them for April, that is not indicative of people not wanting to buy here. That sounds very healthy. Okay, on these houses that went under option contract, or that are under option contract right now, the listing price was between $60,000 up to $1,489,000, and then there was another one for $1,225,000. So people are still putting in offers on houses, even in the $1 million price range. So as of right now, April 17th, it does not look like that the water crisis is startling real estate buyers or sellers. If it was, I would not expect to be seeing all these offers being accepted and or even being put in the first place if buyers were scared. We are in a water crisis. I will even call it a water war, because there is a lot of battles going on over where the water's going to come from, how much we're going to pay, if this is going to be doable, if it's not going to be doable, permitting. Our neighbors, our rural neighbors, are very concerned about their water wells. But so with this, like I said, I'm going to be as honest as I can with you, is if we do have a curtailment, and they have not come out with the exact date yet, the next city workshop is going to be working on even what the curtailment might look like. And with the next emergency plan, they're going to have a few more specifics. For the average homeowner, it's my understanding, they have been floating from a workshop a couple of weeks ago, that homeowners could use up to 7,000 gallons per month. And that's a lot of water for the average people. So there is going to be water for people to brush their teeth, take showers, flush the toilet. You may not be able to do the car washes as much. If you are into gardening, or you're finding yourself going to the nursery, buy potted plants, because from what the plans that they're doing right now is, if it's in a potted plant, you're going to be able to water it, and you can take water from the house and water it. If you have a rain barrel, you can water your plants. If they're in the ground, there is a good chance that you're not going to be able to water it through the water system. If there is curtailment, let's just say it's 25%, that is going to hurt the economy here. And it's because the refineries will have to cut back. It'll cut back their employees' time that they're getting to work, in all probability. That floats down to how much discretionary income they have in different places. Some people may choose to move. I don't know, everybody's still planning. But so when it comes to the real estate market and the water issues, is Corpus Christi is not the only place in Texas that's having the water issues. And I'm going to go ahead and just tell you up front, from my analysis of Texas coast towns, and even some of the others, is short run, we may have some little stumbles, but long run, because we are on the coast and there is so much water around here, we are extremely well positioned to long run, 3, 4, 5 years, to really come out of this ahead. There's a lot of people that oppose the desalination or inner harbor desalination. Most people seem to acknowledge that it's not a matter if a desalination is going to occur, it's just a matter when and where it's going to be at. But so long run, like I said, Corpus Christi is really well positioned, because they've already had years of considering different locations. And so we're not just starting the quest for desalination. And again, all over Texas with the AI data centers and stuff, population growth, industry growth, everybody is scrambling for water, especially during the drought times. Like I said, we're going to have some bumps here, and it's not going to be fun, but we will get through this.